Alright, to do some simple flower boxes, what we need to do is get our 3D cursor positioned to the center first. So we're going to hit Control C, and that's put the 3D cursor right in the center of the house. I'm going to turn this camera off so that it's not getting in our way. What we want to do is bring out the sidebar, go to View, and down to 3D cursor, and we want to position this 3D cursor. So we're going to move it in X away from the center out to beside the house. We want to hit Shift A, go up to Mesh and add a cube. We want to immediately go into edit mode on this cube, and we want to scale it way down. Now I don't know if the scale is totally right yet. We're going to scale maybe just a little bit more. We may have to play with the scale again later. What we want to do is get the 3D cursor out of the way. We want to go into face mode, and we want to select that back face, and then hit Shift S, cursor to selected. That puts that cursor right onto that back face. Now we want to hit Tab to go into object mode, and we want to reposition the origin of this cube to be right at the same position as that 3D cursor. In other words, right in the center of that back face. So we've got the 3D cursor position there. We right click, go to Set Origin, Origin to 3D Cursor. I'm going to move that cursor over. That origin is right on the back of that cube. So what we want to do next is we want to go up here and turn snapping on. That's this little horseshoe magnet icon. Click on that, and then we want to adjust our snap settings here in this little menu to the right of the horseshoe icon. The first part of it is what we want to snap to, and then the next part of it is what we want to snap with. And then you can also choose whether it's affecting move, rotation, or scaling. Right now it's just affecting move, and that's fine because that's what we're doing. I want to make sure that snap to is set to face, and I want to make sure that it's set to median, because you can choose anything you want here. So we want to make sure it's set to median, and it's the same here. It could be set to any of these. We want to make sure it's set to face. So face and median, and it's affecting move. All right, that's our settings. Now we want to move this cube by pressing G, and of course it has to be selected first. And now you can see that it's sort of sticking to the side of the house there, or to really any side. But on the front part it does it a little differently. It's not rotating the object around, but on this side it's doing it fine. On this side it's doing it fine. We're going to make a flower box right here with this cube. So we're going to get it to stick to the side of the house, and then confirm with left mouse click. Then we're going to go into side view by pressing 3. Boy, it's kind of hard to see that, isn't it? We want to bring out the side panel, and with that cube selected, we want to choose item, and we want to set the location in Y to be 0. And what that's doing is that's centering that flower box, the start of the flower box. And now we want to move it in Z to get it positioned a little bit better, as though it's like beneath a window. So right there is probably about right. We want to go back into edit mode on this object. First I'm going to hide the sidebar. I'm going to tab into edit mode. I'm going to select the whole thing with A, and then I'm going to scale in Y. So we stretch that flower box out to be about the right size. Now we want to give a little bit of shape to it. I'm in edge select mode. Up here at the top you can see it's edge select mode. We select this edge here. We want to bring that edge in a little bit, so we're going to go G to move it, and X, and pull that in just a little bit. Readjust that slightly so it's not quite so steep. And there we've got a nice looking flower box. So I went back to object mode, and what I want to do is I want to duplicate this with Shift D, and I want to pull it out. And what I'm going to do is try to get one of these put on the back of this house. So I want to go to side view, move that around like that. Turn snapping off. In object mode, hit R on the keyboard. That's to rotate the object. We want to rotate around Z, and we want to do it by 90. So we just entered a precision value by typing in 90 and hitting enter. Now we've got it orientated the right way, and now we want to move it into position with snapping. So we have to turn our snapping back on. We want to check our settings, make sure we're snapping to face, make sure we're snapping with the median, which really in this case means with the orange dot. Should have clarified that earlier. We're going to position this one roughly on the house. What we're going to do is check our Z value on the other one in the sidebar. We want to roll our mouse over the Z field, hit Control C to copy that value. Then we want to click on this flower box here, roll our mouse over its Z value and hit Control V. And that pastes that value into its field and makes it pop down into position. Now we want to set its X value to be 0 to center it up properly. And now we want to make a few more of these. So I'm going to select that last one we did, hit Shift D, position it out here in 3D space, hit R, rotate around Z by 90, hit Enter. And now with snapping still on, we want to move this one into position on the side of the house. You want to make sure you get your cursor up there so that you can see that snapping going on with that orange circle indicator there. And just kind of position it roughly there. Again, we're going to position the height of this thing. So we're going to do that same operation that we did last time. We're going to select the last one we did, roll our mouse over its Z field, hit Control C while we're over its field. We're going to select the one that we need to reposition and hit Control V over its Z field to get it positioned to the right height. We'll hit Control 3 to view that from that side, pan over, and hit Shift D, constrain to Y. We'll make one more, and it's already at the right height. Realizing I still have snapping on, I'm going to turn that off for now. So I just clicked on that horseshoe icon and got it turned off. With this flower box selected here, I'm going to move it over a little bit in Y. So hit G to move, Y to constrain, and just pull it over. We're just kind of eyeballing things here to make it look attractive. And we'll deselect everything. And there we've got all of our flower boxes on our house. What we do need to do is quickly label all these parts. So steps has already been labeled, house has been labeled. Let's go ahead and label the first flower box. We'll change it to flower box 1. And then I'm going to copy that value. Select the next one we did. Change it to flower box 2, and so on. And I'll just quickly do those real quick here. And this is just good habit to help you keep track of things. Really, this will probably get messed up in the future when we go to do our paper model stuff that we have to do. I just showed you this so that you can see that you can change the names to be labeled in such a way that you can easily identify the different models that you have in your scene. All right, close the sidebar. Be sure to save your work. You definitely want to save your work before you close Blender and give your file an appropriate file name. That is the house, and all we have to do now is the rest of the process, which is to create a nice texture to go on this house to add all the rest of the details like the doors, the windows, the siding, maybe a little bit of light and shade here and there, the shingles, that kind of stuff. In that process also we'll be marking the seams and that sort of thing. So really it's going to be mark seams next, lay out our texture, get our texture created, and then bring it back in, see how things are looking, export to paper model, and further tweak in Inkscape. Got a lot ahead of us yet, but we got a lot done in a short amount of time. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you had fun with it, and I'll see you in the next video.